So this was the projectile motion theory part. I think that you remember all these equations along x-axis, along y-axis, and the time of flight, the range and maximum height, as well as the very important equation of trajectory. Right? Again, I am saying that whenever you are getting a two-dimensional or three-dimensional motion, try to break all the vectors into two perpendicular components and analyze those components individually. Then you will be able to understand that this 2D or 3D motion is nothing but two or three one-dimensional motion, right? Then we can use all the equations for one-dimensional motions and we can solve the question easily. Let us check what are the questions that I have given to you. I think we have solved this question in class.
Sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Briefly, I will tell you what is the solution of this question. It says a particle is projected from origin with a velocity 10 meter per second at angle 53 degree with horizontal. After 1 second, find the angle between its initial velocity vector and the instantaneous velocity vector. And number 2, the angle between its position vector and the instantaneous velocity vector. Let us first draw the situation. Suppose the particle is moving in xy plane. So I have drawn here xy plane like this. This is y-axis, this is x-axis. And let us assume the particle is following this projectile path. And I have thrown the particle at certain initial velocity u, making angle theta with the horizontal line. This is given as 10 meter per second and this theta is 53 degree. First, tell me what is the initial velocity vector? How do I write the initial velocity vector? Yes, with their known unit vectors. With their
6 I cap plus 8 j cap.
6 I cap plus 8 j cap. Right?
So 8 I cap plus 6 j cap, I think.
No.
No.
6 I cap 6 I cap plus 8 j cap. Good. Now, after 1 second of time, can you see that initially this is my ux and this is my uy? Can you understand this part? This is my ux and this is my uy.
Yes.
Can you tell me what is vx after 1 second? What will be vx?
It will remain the same.
Yes. You can check here that after 1 second the Vx will remain the same as there is no acceleration along x-axis. And after 1 second what will be Vy? Which equation I will use? Vy is equal to Uy minus Gt. If you do not understand, then talk to me, unmute yourself and ask me the question. Uy is 8 minus 10 into 1, so that is minus 2. So can I write that velocity after 1 second is 6 I cap minus 2 j cap. Now I know two vectors, one is u vector, another is v vector. Can you tell me how to find out the angle between these two vectors, u vector and v vector? How to find out the angle between the vectors? Dot product. Yes, good. We will use a dot product. So if I say that the angle between these two vector is say theta 1, then can I say that cos theta 1 is equal to, do you remember the formula? What is cos theta 1?
Sir,
A dot B by AB.
Yes.
By AB.
U dot V divided by mod U into mod V. What is the dot product of U and V? 36
20.
minus 16. It is 20. Good. And what is mod U? Mod U is 10. What is mod V? What is mod V? Root over of 36 plus 4. Root over of 40. Right? So root over of 40
Yes.
means 2 root 10. So is your answer is 20 by 20 root 10, or is it 1 by root 10? Cos inverse 1 by root 10 should be the answer of the first question. Cos inverse 1 by root 10. I think it is clear to all of us.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now let us come to the second part of the question. It says that what is the angle between initial velocity vector and position vector after 1 second. Let us assume that after 1 second the particle is here. This is the velocity that we have already found. So what is the position vector at this point? Position vector for this point should be this part. Yes or no? It is the position vector when the particle is after 1 second. So how do I write this position vector? R vector. R vector. There is Rx component of R vector and there is Ry component of R vector. What is Rx here? You can see Rx is equal to Ux into T. Can I say that, as there is no acceleration along x-axis? And Ry is equal to Uy into T minus of half gt square, as the acceleration along y-axis is minus g. Putting the value here, this is 6 into 1, so Rx is 6, and what is Uy? Uy was 8, so it is 8 into 1 minus half g is 5 into 1 square, so that is 3. So can I say that my R vector is equal to 6 I cap plus 3 j cap, and U vector is equal to 6 I cap plus 8 j cap. Now if I say that the angle in between them is theta 2, then again I will use the dot product and I can say that
Sir,
Bolo.
it's given angle between its position and instantaneous velocity vector, not initial velocity vector.
Angle between its position vector and instantaneous velocity vector. Okay, good. So the theta 2 that we have found here, it is the angle between position vector and initial velocity vector, right? That you can find from this equation, but it is not asked in your question. In your question, you have to find what is the angle between the position vector and instantaneous velocity vector. But also we know what is instantaneous velocity vector. Do you remember what was instantaneous velocity vector? 6 I cap
plus 6 I cap minus 2 j cap.
minus 2 j cap. So if I say the angle in between them is theta 3, then I will use this formula. Cos theta 3 is equal to R dot V divided by mod R mod V. Can you calculate what is the value of cos theta 3? What is R dot V? R dot V is 36 minus 6. 30.
30.
What is
30.
modulus of R? 36 and 9. 45.
45. 3 root 5.
3 root 5 into 210.
3 root 5 into 2 root
10.
10. Right? So I think it is 3655. So it is 1 by root 2.
1 by root.
So
Yes,
your answer for the second question should be 45 degree. Now this one is also a simple question. Could you solve this question at home?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let me just in brief tell you what is the solution of this question. It says a particle is projected from origin with a velocity at some angle with horizontal such that it passes through the coordinates a comma b and b comma a during its journey. You need to find the angle of projection and horizontal range. Now, which equation I will use here to solve this question? Can anyone tell me which equation I should use?
Trajectory.
Equation of trajectory. Equation of trajectory. Do you remember what was the equation of trajectory? Y is equal to
Theta times 1 minus x by r.
1 minus x by
yes, good. X tan theta into 1 minus x by r. Now, according to this question, it passes through a comma b. So for this first instance, I can say my y coordinate is b and x coordinate is a. So b is equal to a tan theta into 1 minus a by r. It is the first equation that I will get. And for the second instance, its y coordinate is a, x coordinate is b. So I can write a is equal to b into tan theta into 1 minus p by r. That is the second equation you will find. And from here, I think that you will be able to solve this question, because now you can see that I have two equations with two unknowns. Tan theta is unknown and r is unknown. So these two things only I have to find in the question. So I will not proceed from here. I will leave this question to you. You can solve it mathematically and find the angle of projection and range. Let us try to solve it. It is a good question, and we can do it in different ways. But the most simple way that I have learned, I will tell you with that only. This is a projectile motion, and I have drawn any arbitrary triangle inside the path of the particle, where the 2 points or the base of the triangle is the base of the projectile motion, and the vertex lies at any point on the path of the trajectory of the particle. Let us name the points A, B and C, and let us drop a perpendicular from B to the base. This is perpendicular and this is D, right? Let us assume the perpendicular is height h and this distance AD is x. Then what is the distance DC? If its total range is r, then what is the distance DC? R minus r minus x. Now, can anyone tell me what is the coordinate of the point B?
x comma h.
X comma h. Now I am going to use the equation of trajectory for this point x comma h. Again, the same equation I will use, y equal to x tan theta into 1 minus x by r, right? Now for this equation, you can see that y is h, x is there only, and tan theta into 1 minus x by r. So that is the first equation I will get. From there, can I say that what is tan theta? Tan theta equal to h divided by x into 1 minus x by r. So it is r minus x by r, right? So this is tan theta. Similarly, can you tell me what is tan alpha from the first triangle ABD?
H
From
by
the
x.
triangle ABD, tan alpha is
H
h
by
by x. And from the triangle BCD, what is tan beta?
H by R minus H.
By r minus x.
H by r minus x. Now if you add this to tan alpha plus tan beta, is it the same thing as tan theta?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So prove. a velocity u at angle theta with horizontal. Find the time after which its instantaneous velocity will be perpendicular to the initial velocity. Okay. Shagnik Roy raised hand. Do you have
Sorry,
any
sir,
doubt?
that's the mistake.
Okay, all right. So a particle is projected from origin with velocity. Now this question actually can be done in different ways. Let me first draw the situation and try to understand what the question is all about. Let us assume the particle is moving in xy plane and the particle is following this trajectory. This is the initial velocity u. After some time, the velocity of the particle may be v. Right? So I do not know what is the time. I have to find that. After some time, the velocity of the particle is v. I have to only find the time if it is given that the two velocity vectors are perpendicular to each other. Initial velocity and the velocity after time t. Can you tell me any method of approach to solve this question?
So the dot product
Product will be
Yes.
0.
Yes, you can try to solve it by this one. That after time t you find what is v, right? Like this. Suppose u vector is equal to ux. Ux means u cos theta I cap plus u sin theta j cap. Right? Can you write v vector as vx I cap plus vy j cap?
u cos
U cos theta I plus u sin theta t minus gt square by 2 j cap.
U cos theta I
Plus
x component will remain the same. What about its y component?
u sin theta t
U sin theta t or only u sin theta?
u sin theta minus dt j cap.
U sin theta minus gt j cap or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you can solve this question. Just try to solve in your copy. Make u dot v equal to 0 and find the time. So if you do a dot product, what you will find? I'm just writing the dot product. You can check. U square cos square theta plus u square sin square theta minus u gt sin theta is equal to 0. Now what is cos square theta plus sin square theta? We all know it is 1.
1.
As u is not equal to 0, I can cancel it. So you can find t is equal to u by g sin theta. Right? So that is the one solution of this question. A very conventional method to solve this question is this one. Let us first try to understand that if I use this equation, v vector equal to u vector plus gt vector or at vector. Just answer me whether I can use this vector equation for any 2D or 3D motion or not.
Yes.
Can I use this vector equation for any 2D or 3D?
Yes.
As long as my acceleration vector is constant. Yes, I can use that. But the problem using it in 2D or 3D is that all the vectors do not lie along the same line. Right? So I need to plot the vectors maintaining their original directions. For example, here you can see the u vector is in this direction and at vector. What is the direction of a vector here in this question? Downward, right? A vector will be downward. So can I draw a vector triangle with the help of these three vectors? So this was my xy axis. right? If this is my u vector, suppose in this direction, what is the AT vector direction? Can anyone tell me what is the direction of AT vector?
The downward.
Direct vertically downward. So you come vertically downward direct from here, and the resultant of this two vector, if you use the triangle rule of vector addition, this is u vector, this is AT vector, it is u vector, this is GT vector. Actually,
Resultant will be opposite in sense.
yes,
Sir, resultant will be opposite in sense.
yes, good. Resultant will be in opposite sense. So this will be the resultant of this vector, and according to the triangle rule, this will be the velocity vector.
U plus GT.
U plus GT is equal to V. Can you relate this vector triangle with this equation?
Yes.
Yes. Everyone should understand that. This is not a tough thing to understand, but a very useful thing. Okay. Now answer me. What is this angle with x-axis u vector? What is this angle given in your question?
Given theta.
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 Okay. If this angle is theta, can you tell me what is this angle?
So theta. Theta.
Theta. This is 90 degree given. So what is this angle?
90 degree minus theta.
90 minus.
Now can you see that I only have a triangle whose side lengths are given by the modulus of the vectors only? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you use sine rule in that triangle? So if I use sine rule, what is the u modulus divided by how? With which factor I will divide the modulus of u?
Sin theta.
U by sine theta. Do you remember the sine rule, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, u by sine theta. Can you tell me what I will divide with this gt?
V by cos theta or GT by 1. No, 1.
Yes,
Sine 90
gt by
one.
sine 90 degrees is 1 and divided by mod v divided by
Cos theta.
cos theta. Now you can see from this one equation directly you can find what is t. It is 1. So t is equal to u by g sine theta. Yes or no? From this two part, can you find what is time?
Yes, sir.
And not only time, you can also find what is the velocity. What is the velocity after this one?
U cot theta.
U cot theta,
Cot.
right? So this is another way of approach this question, right? Not only this question, we can use this vector triangle to solve any 2D or 3D equation. But you need to remember that I have to plot the vectors accurately. You cannot write the plus minus sign, but you can definitely use the vector signs, right? So if you are very much confident in drawing a vector triangle or polygon, then you can always take this method of approach. Now this question says a particle is projected in xy plane. 2 seconds after the projection, the velocity of the particle makes 45 degree with the x-axis. 4 seconds after the projection, it moves horizontally. Find the velocity of the projection. This is the motion of the particle it is talking about, and it says that after 2 second time its velocity vector makes angle 45 degree with horizontal line, and after 4 second it is moving horizontal, right? So if its initial velocity is u, that makes angle theta with horizontal line. What is the velocity when it is moving horizontally? Can you tell me what is this velocity when it is moving horizontally?
U cos theta.
Yes, the velocity when it will move horizontally, it's only u cos theta, right? As the
Why is that?
horizontal part remains always the same.
Oh.
Yes or no? Now it is given that this time interval is 4 seconds and this time is 2 seconds, right? Okay. What I will do, if you see that what is the time taken by the particle to reach from on initial point to this maximum height, do you remember what is the time
U
taken?
sin theta by G.
Yes, it is u sin theta divided by g. That is given as 4. From there, can you calculate what is u sin theta? It is easy to calculate that u sin theta equal to 4g.
40.
Yes, 4g or 40 you can compose. It says after 2 second time, its velocity is 45 degree with horizontal. So can I find what is the velocity of the particle after 2 seconds? Velocity of the particle after
U
2
cos theta I
seconds.
cap plus U cos theta J.
Yes, it is u cos theta I cap plus what is the y component?
U cos theta J cap. Sir, it will be same.
Yes, but according to the equation of time, what I will write
Okay,
is
U sin theta J cap.
u sin theta minus
Oh,
2g j cap, because
yes,
the
yes.
time is
Minus 2.
because the time is 2 seconds, so it is u minus uy minus 80. That I have written here. U minus uy minus g, right? So you can see that it is u cos theta I cap plus. Now can I put the value of u sin theta 4g here directly?
Yes.
So 2g j cap. As the particle makes an angle 45 degree with x-axis, so what is the modulus of u cos theta? Can you tell me what is the modulus of u cos theta from this
2G.
expression? It is also 2g, because 45 degree means the modulus should be the same for x and y axis. So if u cos theta is 2g and u sin theta is 4g, then what is the value of u? It is 20 and it is 40. How I will get the value of u now? I will square the equations and add them. If you square and add, sin square theta plus cos square theta is 1 and it will be 20 square into 1 plus 2 square, right?
Yes.
So the value of u will be 20 root 5 meter per second. Now this question is also not tough, but yes, that is a good question to solve. It says the horizontal range of a particle is r and the maximum height attained is capital H. Now a strong wind begins to blow in the direction of motion of the projectile, giving it a constant horizontal acceleration of g by 2. Under the same conditions of projection, find the horizontal range of the projectile. Now look, unlike a conventional projectile motion where we have assumed the acceleration along x-axis is 0, here the acceleration of x-axis along x-axis is
G
given
by
as
2.
g by 2, right? So I need to change the equation along x-axis, not y-axis. Y-axis equation will remain the same. So if you see the situation now, then you can understand that this is y-axis, this is x-axis. If it is the initial velocity with which makes an angle theta with x-axis, then you have to understand the acceleration now has two components. One is along x component g by 2, another along y component the acceleration is g, right? So whenever I will write the equation of motion along x-axis, what equation I will write? Can I say what is,
plus gt square.
yes, ux equal to u cos theta, right? Or let it be ux only, right? Don't, we do not need that theta. So what is x? Can I write that x equal to ux into t plus half into g by 2 t square? Is that equation correct? Can you understand this equation now?
Yes, sir.
Unlike a conventional projectile where this acceleration part is 0, you only write uxt, but here we have to write plus half at square also, right? And what is y-axis motion? They are same. So from the y-axis equation, can you find what is the time of flight? Will the time of flight remain the same as a conventional projectile motion, or it will change?
Remain the same.
Remain the same. Remember a very important concept, that time of flight only depends on the y component of its velocity and
Y-axis.
acceleration, right? As there is nothing new in y component velocity and acceleration, so total time of flight will remain the same. Everyone should understand this part. Again, if you want to calculate, you can do it, but you will do the same method and you will find the same answer. So what is time of flight? Can anyone tell me what is time of flight?
2u sin theta by g.
Can I say it is 2u y divided by g?
Okay.
Right? We should also understand different notations. We do not have to always write sin theta or cos theta. Instead, we can write ux uy anytime. Okay, so that is 2u y by g. Okay, for a normal projectile, what is the range? Can you tell
2
me?
into 2x into uy by g.
U square by g times sin 2 theta.
Okay, so can you write this normal range? If you write it u square by g into sine 2 theta, so sine 2 theta is nothing but 2 sine theta cos theta or
2
not,
sin theta cos theta.
right? So actually, if you see that the range we have got by this one, range was ux into capital T, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? Range was ux into capital T. And what was the maximum height? Can you tell me what was maximum height?
U square sin square theta divided by 2g.
2g.
Can you remember it is uy square divided by 2g?
Yes, sir.
Yes? Okay. Look, you can always solve this question by using sine theta cos theta, but I am trying to do it in a different way so that we can practice things, right? Otherwise, there is no harm in doing this question in writing cos theta sine theta, right? It will hardly take some time. Okay. Now, what is the new range? Can anyone tell me what is the new range? The new range will be according to this equation. So, can I write the new range will be ux capital T plus g by 4 capital T square. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what is ux into t? Is it the normal range r
Yes, R. It's R.
plus g by 4 into t square? What is t square? 4uy square by g square. Can you see that? I have put the
Yes.
value of time here. I have put the value of time from here to here.
Sir, each.
So if g gets cancel out, 4 gets cancel out. So it is uy square by g. Now what is uy squared by 2g? It is h. So what is uy
It
squared
will
by
be
g?
2h.
Sir,
2h.
2h.
So that is the answer of this question, r plus 2h. Okay, that was a bit tricky question. Have you solved this?
No, sir.
Sir, I couldn't get, sir.
Yes.
All right. If you have tried, that's enough, right? That's only needed. You should try to solve the question so that you can understand what is happening inside. Solution part is secondary. Solution we can always do if it comes with practice, but trying things is more important. Okay. So this question says that a particle is projected with a velocity of 2 root over of ag, so that it just clears two walls of equal height a, which are at a distance 2a apart. Show that the time of passing between the wall is 2 root over of a by g. So there are few things we will learn while solving this question. Let us first try to draw the situation. If I say that it is the x-axis, y-axis, and the particle follows this projectile path, then there are two walls. Suppose this is one wall here and there is another wall here. Both are having the same height a. Suppose this height is a, this height is also a, and the distance in between them is 2a. Right? So suppose the velocity of the projectile when it is here is v, and velocity of projectile initially was u. Let us assume this angle to be theta, right? And let us assume this angle to be phi. This angle to be phi. Okay. So what equations we can write, that we have to first understand. Look, can I write this equation v square equal to u square plus twice into acceleration into delta s for this two-dimensional motion? Can I write this equation? Yes or no? Just tell me.
Yes.
Sir, give vector sign.
Yes, sir. Give it.
Look, this equation only talks about modulus. How can I put a vector sign with that? V square cannot be a vector. Yes, you can write v dot v, you can write u dot u, but that will be a complicated equation. I am only talking about the modulus. Can I write this modulus terms and in this equation like this?
Yes.
Answer is no. I cannot write this equation that I have used, because in this equation there is no vector signs, right? In this equation there is no vector sign, and I cannot use any one-dimensional motion equations without a vector sign in 2 dimension or 3 dimensions.
Sir, we can write A dot S.
Definitely we can write a dot delta s. That vector sign we can use, but this equation talks about modulus. I cannot use, right? One second. With a proper vector sign you can use that. What will be the vector equation for that? You can use this equation with no doubt. You can use v dot v equal to u dot u plus twice a dot delta s. Definitely you can use this equation. No problem in that. Yes or no? You can use this equation without any doubt. But here in this equation you can see that v dot v will be v square, u dot u is u square. What is twice a delta s? When the particle is here, right? So this delta s is this part. Can you understand? This is the delta s.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Its
Yes, sir.
displacement is this one. So actually,
Yes, sir.
I have to do a dot product with g vector and delta s. G vector and delta s. Can you tell me what I will get after a dot product of g vector and delta s? G dot delta s will be mod g into mod delta s into cos theta. What is the angle between them? If this angle is phi, then what is the angle
Yes,
between g
180 minus 5. Pi
Yes.
minus 5.
180 minus 5.
pi
Pi
minus phi? Good. So if I try to only write down this equation, it is twice mod a is g, mod delta s remains there, and cos of 180 degree minus phi is what thing?
Minus cos 5.
Minus cos.
Cos phi minus cos phi. Now can you see what is delta s cos phi from this triangle? From this triangle, if this is delta s, what is delta s cos phi? If this is phi means this is phi. So what is delta s cos phi? Can you see? What is delta s cos phi? Is this the only y displacement of the particle? Can you see from this triangle?
Yes, sir.
If this is the triangle where this is the delta s, this is phi. So what is delta s cos phi? It is the height h. Delta s cos phi is only the vertical displacement or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that is why you can always write this equation: v square equal to u square minus 2gy. That equation is correct. Even if you do not give a vector sign in that, because I have got this equation after calculating the vector. Also, there is another way of understanding the same concept. Try to understand this concept in this way. Suppose what is at this point Vx. If I say Vx, what is Vx at this point? Can I say Vx and Ux are always the same?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
So can I say Vx square equal to Ux square?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
No problem. Can anyone tell me what is Vy square? Now I am writing one-dimensional motion. So this equation now it is
It is uy square minus 2g.
yes.
Yes.
It is uy square minus 2gy. Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Now these two are one-dimensional equations. You can definitely write without giving vectors. Now if you add these two equations, what is Vx square plus Vy square?
Mod v.
Mod V square.
Mod v square.
What is Ux square plus Uy square?
U square.
Mod U
U square.
And minus 2gy. Now have you got this equation?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right? So in projectile motion, I can always use this equation: v square equal to u square minus 2gy. Here v is not any x and y component. What is v here? Can you tell me what is v here?
Magnitude of velocity.
Speed, yes. Rather than you can say it is speed. V is the speed, u is the initial speed, and y is the vertical displacement. Now tell me, can I write v square equal to u square minus twice g into a for this question? Can I write
Yes,
this
sir.
equation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in that case, if u is given, u is 2 root ag, that means u square is 4ag minus 2ag. So v square equal to twice
2ag.
ag. Right? So that is the first equation that I have got, that v is equal to root over of 2ag. Look how
So this
easily.
equation deals with magnitudes only.
Yes, definitely. It deals with the speed and magnitude only. Right? No vector sign is needed. That is why a very easy equation to use. So that is the first equation I have got, that v is equal to root over of twice ag. Right? So that the time of passing between the walls is this one. So what is the time of passing that I have to find? Can I say that what is the time of flight between these two? What is time of flight between these two? If this is small t, then you can see that time of flight is equal to twice v sine phi divided by g. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Twice
Yes,
v
sir.
sine phi. Yes.
Yes,
Divided
sir.
by g. Okay. And what is the range for this motion? 2a.
2a.
So can you say that range is equal to u square, v square. Range is equal to v square sine 2 phi divided by g. Yes or no? Range equal
Sir.
to, yes, tell me.
Sir, 2a is the distance between the two walls.
Yes, it is given. 2a is the distance between two walls, which are at a distance 2a apart, given in the question. Huh? Now let me just put the value of v here in this equation. Can you find the solution of sine 2 phi if I put the value of v in this equation?
Sir, 90 degree.
Yes. So 2a into g is equal to v square is again 2ag into sine 2 phi. So if sine 2 phi is equal to 1, then what is the value of phi? Can you tell me?
Sir, 45.
45 degree.
45 degree. Now
45.
put the value of phi as 45 degree here. So it is 2 by g into v is root over of twice ag into sine 45 degrees. How much?
So
1 by root 2.
1 by root. Can you calculate the time?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It is 2 root over of a by g. Now let us study another type of projectile motion where I will project a particle from a tower. This is known as projectile from a cliff. Suppose now this is the particle I am talking about. This is the particle, and in this case the particle is projected not from ground, but instead I am projecting it from the tower of height h, and it comes down to the ground here. So this should be the range of the projectile, right? Now if I have to write the x-axis motion of the particle, it will remain the same. X-axis motion, ux is equal to u cos theta, ux equal to u cos theta, right? And ax is again 0. So the x displacement of the particle is u t cos theta only. Do you understand the x-axis motion? There is no change in x-axis. In y-axis equation also, I can say that uy is equal to u sine theta, uy equal to u sine theta, and vy is equal to u sine theta minus gt, and y displacement is equal to ut sine theta minus half gt square. The same equations as I have used, because there is nothing change in this projectile motion. Now, can you write the equation for capital H? What should I write the equation for capital H? Actually, I do not have to write the equation of capital H. Instead, I have to find what is the time of flight. How do I find what is time of flight here in this case?
Displacement of y-axis should be minus h.
Yes, displacement in y-axis is minus h. So I will use the same equation where I will use y as equal to minus h is equal to ut sine theta minus half gt square. Right, now you can see that in this equation,
So y minus h?
because I have taken downward vectors to be negative, as I have taken g negative, so I have taken downward vectors to be negative. If your initial position is here and finally you are at this point, what should be your displacement, positive or negative?
Naked.
Negative. Alright, that is why I have put a minus h before that. If you are unaware about the fact that what is my displacement, you can keep it only y, and if you know the time, you put the time. Right,
Finally,
after that calculation you can find whether y is positive or negative. But here the reverse is known. That means I know the displacement, I have to find the time, and if you know the displacement, you have to put with
So what you
proper
said?
sign. What I am saying, that if you are going to use the first equation, this one, then in first equation I should know the value of time. Accordingly, I will find the value of y. But in this equation, what is known? In
Y
this
is known.
equation, y is known. I have to find the time. Right? So that is why when y is known, you have to put the value of y with proper sign. Have you understood the equations of motion in this projectile from a tower? It is the
Yes,
similar
sir.
thing.
It's same thing.
Same thing, yes.
Yes.
It is the same thing. I have written the equations here. You can just check. The same thing. Okay. Now let us try to solve this question. So let us try to understand what is given in this question. Its initial velocity is not given. Let us assume it to be u, right? So what is the u? What is the vertical component of the velocity? It's
Uy.
Oh, okay. Uy. The vertical component of velocity is uy. That is equal to u sine alpha,
U sin alpha.
right? And ux is equal to u
U
cos
cos
alpha,
alpha.
right? So let us say that after time t, the particle moves like this and it hits the projectile inclined plane here. I do not know what is the position of this point. Let us assume that its displacement is y. So what equation I will write for y? Can I write y is equal to uy, y is equal to uy into t minus of half gt square. Can I write this equation as y? Yes or no?
Yes.
Everyone should understand this part. That is a very simple
Yes.
equation that I have got. Uy into t, right? Minus half gt square. Okay. Now what is uy? If you find that alpha is given as 53 degree, right? So uy you can find uy is
4u by
equal
5.
to 53 degree means 4u by
4u
5,
by 5. 4u.
right? And ux equal to 3u by 5. So that is 4u by 5 into t minus 5t square. That is the y displacement. Can anyone tell me what is the x displacement for the particle? The x displacement for the particle, this part, this is the x displacement of the particle.
3ut by 5.
X displacement of the particle is 3ut by 5. Yes or no? Now, let us understand that what is this total height now? What is this total height?
H plus y.
H plus y. And this base, what is this base?
Sir, X.
X. So can I write that tan theta is equal to, can I write this tan theta equal to H plus Y by X? And what is tan theta? As theta is 53 degree. So tan theta is again 4 by 3.
4 by 3.
So I will use this equation 3H plus 3Y equal to 4X. So 3H, H is given, I think. H is 6 by 8 plus 3Y. 3Y means 12 ut by 5 minus 15t square equal to 4x. What is 4x?
12 UT by 5.
12 ut by 5. Can you see that 12 ut by 5, this part will get cancelled out from both the sides?
Yes.
Yes.
So what is left is 15t square is equal to, you can calculate it is 3 by 4, it's 9 by 4. So it is 3 and 5, right? So the value of t should be under root of 3 by 20. That should be the answer of this. This question I can also solve it in a different way. That instead of taking this my x and this my y axis, can I take this my x axis and this my y axis? Look, I have changed the coordinate system of my calculation. Let us assume this to be my x axis and this to be my y axis, y prime, x prime. How this coordinate axis will help me? You can see that this initial velocity vector, it is parallel to x prime or not, because this theta and alpha are same,
Sir.
Yes, sir.
right? But in this case, unlike the earlier case when the x component acceleration was 0, is the x component of the acceleration is 0 now? The x prime component of the acceleration? It
No,
is not
sir.
0.
No,
Why?
sir.
No.
You can see that my acceleration is g downward. My actual acceleration is g downward. So there is a component of g that is acting along x prime as well as y prime. Can you see this? Everyone
Yes, sir.
should understand that I have taken now component of g along x prime and y prime. Can you find what is this angle? If this is theta, this is 90 degrees. So that angle is
37.
50.
That will be. Oh yeah. This will be 53.
So what is the y component of the acceleration? G cos
G cos
theta.
theta.
And what is x component?
G sin. G sin.
So instead of g, now I will use g sin theta and g cos theta. Now the question is very simple. Can you see now what is ux prime? Ux prime is only u or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is uy prime?
0.
0. Good. What is ax prime? Can you tell me what is
G
ax
sin
prime?
theta.
Huh?
G sin minus G sin theta.
Minus g sin theta, as it is acting opposite. What is ay prime? What is ay prime?
Minus G cos.
Minus G.
Minus g cos theta. Right. Now can you see that when the particle moves like this from here to here, what is the y displacement of the particle? Can you identify? If this height is h, what is the y displacement of the particle? This angle will be theta. So the y displacement of the particle is h cos theta or not?
H cos theta.
Sir.
Can you see that from this diagram? everyone should understand this part. I'm going to mute you all. I'm saying that its y displacement is minus h cos theta because it is coming down, right? So I'm only going to write its y displacement equation. Just check whether I'm writing this equation correct or not. Y displacement equation is u y prime t plus half a prime a y prime t square. If I put the value of y here, that gives minus h cos theta. If I put the y prime, u y prime is 0 and it is minus of half a y prime is minus g cos theta t square. If you check, I have only written the same values that I have just got. Now minus minus will get cancelled out and cos theta will also get cancelled out. So t square will be twice h by g, right? So the value of t should be this one. Let us check whether our answer matches with the previous one or not. H is 6 by 8 and g is 10. So it is 5. If I
Root 3 by 20.
20. So is the same thing that we have got root under 3 by 20. So today I will end my class here only. I will have 2 more questions on the projectile motion from the cliff. This one and this one. I will put this as your homework. You try this at your home and send me the solution. Next class we will start from the solution of these 2 questions and then we will move to the projectile
Yes.
motion on inclined plane.